So I'm pleased to say today I'm joined by Alan at Trigg Co, based down in the Isle of Wight. We're going to go through the benefits of rent on time. Alan has been a partner agent for Let Alliance Rent on Time for a long time, and has benefited from our end-to-end proposition during that time. So what value does rent on time add to your proposition when you're targeting landlords or when you're talking to landlords?
Yeah, it's the beginning of a long story actually, Mike, because we started our sales business in 2013, moved into lettings in 2015 once sales was properly established. And we have always been rent on time supporters. It was a fundamental building block of our business, and our approach has always been to try and find a USP. Because every agent talks about we're independent and we're best and we do everything better than everybody else. But some of those things are quite intangible, hard to demonstrate to a landlord. Whereas rent on time is an incredibly real and tangible benefit, in that every landlord's worst proposition is my rent's not being paid.
Yeah.
Particularly if you've got a mortgage. And we decided that rent on time was that fundamental building block that would set us apart. We started off with 0 properties. We've now got a portfolio running into several hundred, including a large corporate client. The whole book is on rent on time, and it's been a fundamental part of building our business.
I think that's the value rent on time brings, whether you're small or larger independent agent.
Sure.
But you can't beat the USP of going out to a landlord and saying, what's your biggest fear? Well, obviously not getting my rent. You don't have that fear using us.
It also meant in the early days, Mike, that because of the sort of outsourced back office aspects of the rent on time service, it meant that we could concentrate fully on getting new property to market and building the business, without having to first build a large and quite expensive back office infrastructure, because we were able to tap into all that expertise that rent on time brought. And we weren't looking over our shoulder to say, oh, have we collected all the rent today? Have we done the rent run? Because we knew the money would arrive in our account, we would pay our landlords. So it was both a great proposition to the landlord, and actually for anybody starting or growing their lettings business, it's a really good back office proposition as well. Because with the best will in the world, however great we all think we are at lettings legislation, I'm ILA qualified, but it's great to have that extra layer of expertise on tap. And you do help us get it right. We've never had a problem in the whole period we've been trading. And I put a lot of that down to the fact that we get fundamentals right, and you're a big part of that.
Speaking to letting agents like yourself regularly, the value rent on time creates is not just the fact that it pays the rent on time every single month and that gives a USP to the landlord. It's also the back office value in terms of removing that credit control function and that risk on your business's bottom line as well, which is obviously if the rent doesn't come in, you don't get your management income on a monthly basis. If you've got that guaranteed, it's one less concern for the business as you move forward and you push on, and it allows you to focus on growth rather than the administration side.
It does, Mike. And the other aspect of it is, again, thinking about the message that you're sending to landlords, and that all important, what's your biggest fear? Not being paid my rent. When it comes to promoting your agency, particularly when you're new into lettings and you're competing against some quite long established players with decent reputations, you need to have a story to tell. And particularly when you're advertising either in press or social media or with mail drops, whatever it may be, you actually need a message that people can quickly understand. And it's a real benefit rather than just a slogan.
Yes.
So we've always used rent on time as our main advertising proposition. What is it you get when you instruct Trigg Co? You get a great service and you get your rent on time every time. It's not oh, well, we'll insure it behind the scenes and you, Mr. Landlord, can then make a claim. We pay the rent.
Yeah, exactly.
And people get it. It's a very simple, very powerful message.
100%. So I suppose my last final question then: why Let Alliance over any other provider? What is it that Let Alliance delivers that you don't feel you can get? Because there's a lot of providers in the market.
There is.
You've been a long time partner agent of Let Alliance.
I happen to have had dealings with your CEO over many years, who's always been a very fair and like-minded individual. You know exactly where you stand, and that's a big plus for us in that we like to know the people we're dealing with, because everybody can make big claims about how great they are, and we don't particularly buy on price. We buy on service and certainty, and I think it's a really key thing, because COVID was a real leveller for landlords. At the beginning of COVID, when we were all working from home, we weren't allowed to go out unless it was to buy a pint of milk. Landlords were genuinely in how is my rent going to get paid? What's going to happen to my tenants? For all of our landlords, they were all on rent on time. And when other providers were pulling cover, dishonouring claims, rent on time was there throughout. There was never one day or 1 hour when we didn't know that we were going to get the service that we'd signed up for. In fact, we had a call from your CEO to say, don't worry, we are going to be there. It's going to be tough. We don't really know quite what we're entering into, but we are going to be there, unlike most other providers. So in a way, we not only chose well at the beginning, but you've sort of been through the battle. The ultimate test was COVID, I think, for most reference and rent guarantee providers. So you've come through that fire, and we came through it with you, and we're pleased to have you behind us. You had our back.
It has been a challenging 2 years, but I genuinely feel that it's really important that letting agents are aware of also what's to come in the next 12-18 months. There's a lot of demand, not enough stock, the same old sort of messaging that's going out in the media press. There's inflation is increasing exponentially month on month. We're seeing the cost of living is obviously aligned to that. Energy prices, obviously everything that's going on across the world at this moment in time is having an impact on the world's economy, and in tandem an impact on our economy, the British economy. And I think it's really, really important that letting agents are aware of the risk in renting property at this moment in time, and are providing the best quality service they can to their landlords. And if we can be a small part of that quality service, we're supporting that. And that's why whenever we talk about letting agents, it's always about partner agents, and that is definitely something we've got with you, Alan. It's that partnership, it's a long-term thing. And thank you very, very much for your support over the last number of years, and future support, no doubt, as well.
Absolute pleasure.
Cheers.